Right now, you're probably trying very hard to make a series of small, responsible financial decisions. You skipped the expensive coffee this morning. You compared the price per ounce of two identical cans of soup. You're actively planning how to handle your next tax return and hoping you don't end up owing a government that seems to aggressively claim a percentage of every single hour you spend working. You operate under a simple, intuitive law of physics. If you spend or give away money, you have less money. It's basic math. If you have $10 and you give away 7, you're left with 3. But at the highest echelons of global wealth, the laws of financial physics don't just break, they completely invert. There is a realm of capital so profoundly massive that it renders the concept of spending money entirely meaningless. It is an automated system where money breeds more money in its sleep, completely independent of human effort, logic, or basic math. And there is no better, more mind-melting case study for this absolute absurdity than a woman named MacKenzie Scott. In 2019, MacKenzie Scott finalized her divorce from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. As a result of that settlement, she walked away with a 4% stake in the online retail giant. At the time, that digital sliver of equity was valued at roughly $36 billion. Now, to her immense credit, she didn't follow the standard billionaire playbook. She didn't buy a mega yacht with its own support yacht. She didn't purchase a private island chain, and she didn't fund a vanity space tourism project to launch herself into the upper atmosphere. Instead, she signed the Giving Pledge and embarked on what is arguably the most aggressive, hyper-efficient, and unrestricted philanthropic sprint in human history. Over the next 7 years, she gave away money faster than almost any individual ever has. She didn't build giant monuments to herself, or demand her name be carved in marble on university libraries. She just wrote massive, surprise, no-strings-attached checks. She funded historically black colleges, rural community health clinics, urban food banks, and local literacy programs. By 2026, her total personal donations surpassed a staggering $26 billion. $26 billion. Let that number hang in the air for a moment. That's enough money to fund the entire annual operations of multiple small countries. It is an amount of capital that could fundamentally reshape entire state economies. And yet if you check the real-time billionaire trackers today, MacKenzie Scott's net worth is still sitting comfortably right around $36 billion. Let that sink in until it makes you angry. She started with $36 billion, she gave away $26 billion, and she still has $36 billion. She actively tried to empty her vaults by throwing tens of billions of dollars out the window directly to the people who desperately needed it, and the gods of finance said, "Hold my beer." How does someone give away an amount of money equal to the GDP of Iceland and end up exactly as rich as they started? The answer isn't magic, and it isn't a glitch in the banking app. It is the silent, automated, and entirely untaxed engine of asset appreciation. When Scott walked away from her marriage, she didn't get a vault full of physical cash like Scrooge McDuck. She got stock, millions of shares of Amazon equity, and between 2019 and 2026, Amazon's stock price didn't just grow, it exploded, more than doubling in value. Because she held such a massive block of this equity, the value of her remaining shares compounded so aggressively that it actively fought against her ability to shrink her bottom line. While her team of lawyers was busy writing multi-million-dollar checks to fund senior care and community infrastructure, the digital ticker on Wall Street was quietly manufacturing billions more in pure, unearned wealth while she slept. Her money was making money faster than her philanthropy could destroy it. It's like trying to empty a swimming pool with a bucket while a fire hose is running at full blast. And this is exactly where the quiet, simmering rage of the average working-class citizen is entirely justified. The economic system is explicitly, meticulously rigged to protect and multiply the wealth of people who already have too much of it, while actively punishing the people who are selling their actual physical time and health to keep society running. When you work a 40-hour week, your income is taxed immediately. The government takes a cut via payroll withholding before the money even touches your banking account. You are taxed on your labor, your literal life force, your sweat, your missed family dinners, and your exhaustion. Billionaires, however, do not live on a salary. They don't get a biweekly paycheck with federal deductions staring back at them. They live on capital gains, stock options, and asset portfolios. Under current tax codes, that exploding wealth isn't exposed to income tax unless the stock is explicitly sold for a profit. When a billionaire's portfolio grows by $10 billion in a single year due to a surging stock market, that massive influx of financial power is legally classified as unrealized. It just sits there in the digital ether, untaxed, untouched, compounding into an unassailable generational dynasty. Meanwhile, the actual physical infrastructure of the nation crumbles. Roads are littered with potholes. Public school systems struggle to afford basic textbooks. Municipal water systems are failing, and the middle class carries the entire financial burden of the country on its back. The system is designed to extract wealth from the bottom and compound it perfectly at the top. Defenders of the ultra-rich love to crawl out of the woodwork to argue that billionaires shouldn't be taxed heavily because private philanthropy is inherently more efficient than the government. They point to people like MacKenzie Scott as the ultimate proof of their corporate mythology, claiming that if we just let billionaires keep all their money, they will voluntarily fix the world's problems out of the goodness of their hearts. But relying on voluntary kindness of a few unchecked oligarchs isn't a social safety net. It's just feudalism with a public relations department. For every MacKenzie Scott who actually tries to distribute her fortune to grassroots organizations, there are dozens of other mega-billionaires who choose to hoard their wealth like a dragon sitting on a pile of gold. Or worse, they use their billions to buy up global communication networks, manipulate public discourse, and dump billions into lobbying politicians to ensure their own tax rates stay at historic lows. When a tiny handful of individuals possess more financial leverage than an actual sovereign government, democracy becomes a polite illusion. A civilized society should not have to cross its fingers and hope that a billionaire gets divorced and happens to feel incredibly generous so that local food banks can keep their shelves stocked for the winter. Charity is not justice. Philanthropy is a broken temporary band-aid on a systemic wound. It allows the ultra-wealthy to play God with public resources, deciding entirely on their own whims which communities deserve to survive and which ones don't. The fact that an individual can actively try to give away $26 billion and completely fail to make a dent in their baseline net worth is the ultimate undeniable evidence that wealth concentration has passed the point of economic sanity. It proves that the hoarding of capital has become an automated, self-sustaining loop that cannot be corrected by charity alone. The loop can only be broken by a tax system that actually treats $1 billion like the massive societal resource it truly is. Until capital gains and massive asset hoarding are taxed with the same aggressive, inescapable severity as a modern worker's hard-earned paycheck, the economic gap will continue to widen into an absolute chasm. We are rapidly approaching a reality where a few hundred families own the literal infrastructure of human existence, while the rest of us lease it back from them 1 month at a time. So the next time you look at your pay stub and wince at the amount of money taken out for federal, state, and local taxes, just remember the math of the modern empire. You are paying a premium for the privilege of working yourself to exhaustion. Meanwhile, out there in the stratosphere of the global economy, the ultra-wealthy are watching their fortunes multiply entirely against their will, protected by a system that ensures the rich stay rich, even when they are actively trying to not be. Right now, you're probably trying very hard to make a series of small, responsible financial decisions. Just try not to think about the fact that your entire life savings is roughly equal to what a billionaire's automated stock portfolio manufactured in the time it took you to watch this video.